You, of course, have bridged the gap between both the modern era and back in the days of the Tasman series. Tell us about that, because obviously you were racing against Formula One and Formula 2 guys that were current drivers at the time.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That's something we'll never see again today, when you have the best in the world out there, and it's an honour to be driving with them, even though we're driving like Formula Juniors, but still in the Grand Prix with them. And that was fantastic. And when I look at what's happening today, if you ask me which way it's going to go, the old era was the most rewarding and satisfying. Today, you win a race and you're happy, but in the old days, like when I won the Grand Prix in '76, that was like winning $1 million at Lotto.
And who impressed you? Who did you beat that you thought, that's not a bad scalp?
Well, we had a lot of Australians over here, and Graham Lawrence and a few of those guys, and some Americans, and so if you can just put them down and let them know who's boss, it helps, doesn't it?
And did they have any idea who you were when you were racing? Because by then you'd probably got a storied history of racing in New Zealand.
Yeah, most all the people we run up against, even all those old Formula One drivers, they were all friendly. They all come and talk to you like they were just like your neighbour. There was never any of this bullshit we see today, where they argue and fight and get cranky when they lose races. That didn't happen.
Tell us a little bit about, do you remember racing Jos Verstappen? Because everybody's talking about Max Verstappen now, his son, who were racing in Formula One. What was Jos like, the boss?
Yeah, Jos was good. Graham Lawrence and I ran him in a DB4 Swift. He buggered one up, and then he did a good job on the other one. He was good at crashing, but he was very fast, very fast.
And tell us a little bit about the New Zealand Grand Prix and its history. You've been a huge part of it. These youngsters are going to face it for the first time this year. But tell me about why it's so special.
Well, I suppose because it's still a Grand Prix, and there's only Macau and New Zealand Grand Prix and the World Championship Grand Prix that's listed as a name. I mean, no one else is allowed to use that name, I don't think. And but apart from that, it's an honour to win a Grand Prix like I thought in the early days, when you had all those best names like Clark, Hill, Stewart, Rent, the whole lot of them, that they got their name on the trophy as well. And to me, that's, you know, something special, because they were legends.
And how many Grand Prix now have you taken part in?
This in January will be the 47th in a TRS, and we've won 3 and had a few seconds, so I suppose it's not too bad, is it? But I just thought doing 47, that's more than anyone else in the world's ever done. So no one's mad enough to go and do their own Grand Prix 47 times, are they?
Not at all. And tell me a little bit about driving a TRS versus some of the classic cars of the Tasman series.
Well, a TRS is a lot different car. It's harder, and it's a rigid car, where these 5000s are soft and they roll around. Atlantic cars were stiffer, and they're much like an Atlantic car. Now we've got paddle shift, and I've never ran a paddle shift in my life, except when I did 30 laps here the other week in one, because I intend to like driving with one hand on 60% of the circuit. So now I've got to keep both hands glued up there.
This is going to be interesting. So let me just get this straight so people understand. You're going to take on a bunch of 16 and 17-year-olds in your 47th Grand Prix, and they've been doing 5 weeks and you've done 1 test.
Well, I'm doing it for a different purpose to them. They're all rising superstars, and I'm just a broken down old pensioner, but I love doing what I do, and it doesn't worry me. I've got no expectations where I've got to run or where. It wouldn't matter if I'm last. At least I've done another Grand Prix, and I think it's an honour to do it, you know.
You could call yourself what you like, but everybody in New Zealand, me included, knows that you are Kenny Smith and one of the great legends of this sport and this country of motorsport. So I think you should be very proud that you're doing what you're doing at the age you're doing it. How old are you now?
76. But as Tom Alexander said, it wouldn't matter if I was last on the grid. He said, I'll bet you I could put money on you wouldn't be last at the first corner, because I'm like them. If they don't take prisoners, I don't either.
Fair enough. Now, are you planning to go to 50?
Well, if I can keep going, if we can enthuse Toyota to do something, because I can't buy the car off them. They don't want to sell it, so yeah, we'll have to get them cranked up, you know, and say, got to get to 50.